Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to.
How the stroke
So
something happened.
that was how we had that first stroke. They said it was an ischemic stroke, and then 8 weeks into it, he had another one, which was now a hemorrhagic stroke. And then, as we are now trying to understand what exactly is going on, Nigerian doctors are wonderful. They know how to withhold information from someone. I wish someone had told me then that if someone had had one stroke, that the person was likely to have another. We could have done things a bit differently, I guess, or maybe, I don't know. But anyways, we had the second stroke, and it was the hemorrhagic one, and that was the one that was really, 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 really very serious, and then as we're dealing with all of that, so many other issues came up. So many. Blood clots was found in the brain. He went into heart failure, pulmonary edema. He became paralyzed, all limbs. It was amazing. It was a time that I almost didn't believe, because things were happening so rapidly. You'd be asking yourself, what did you do wrong? Who did you offend now? Why? How? For what now? But we thank God. We stood there. We asked God to help us. People like you were there. And we're going through this stuff. And then the third one happened. He had a bulbar stroke. And finally, oh yes,
The third one.
his entire from here, from the back of his neck all the way his lung, his tongue just shot out and stayed out for weeks and all of that. It was in that state at this point that we now were told that he had now contacted COVID as well. It didn't look good at all. It didn't look good at that point. It didn't look good at all. How now? Normal people who had nothing will have COVID and die. Then this one has had 1, 2, 3 massive things. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? But that was the point where I said to myself, you know what? Ezinne, something has come to kill your husband. What are you going to do? And I told myself I wasn't prepared to be a widow. I told myself I wasn't ready for this. And I told myself I wasn't going to speak to anyone anymore. And I shut my mouth and I turned my face to God. I shut family. I shut out my father. I shut out his mother. I shut out everybody. And I said to God, you know what, God? This is between me, you, and Kufre. And Father, I've come to say to you that this man has been a good husband to me. He's treated me with respect and love. And you said that if he does all this, that you'll be fair and kind to him. But I ask you now to be fair and kind to him. And my daughter goes, Father, you know what? You have eternity to spend with Daddy. We're only asking you for 90 years. And that you said in your book is like a day. So how is it that you can't give mommy and myself a day with Daddy? Please, we have brought our reasonings before you. Spare his life. And we drove him into the COVID center. Took him in there. We got in there by 11 p.m. They took him. They locked me out. And I refused to go. I told them, if he has COVID, I have COVID. There are no two ways about it. I cleaned this man. I give him food. I'm with him every day. So how come I don't have the COVID? Anyway, they refused to admit me. And I refused to go. When I think I became enough of a nuisance, they asked me to go buy a phone and bring, and then the phone was always kept, on video by his side, so I could see him all the time. So I practically lived in that, in my car, in that COVID center. I would go there in the morning and I'll stay there. I'm just praying and conversing with God. I didn't have any conversation with anybody. I didn't tell anybody where he was. Only yourself, Titus, and his wife knew. I didn't tell anybody anything. I just sat down there. Hi, super fine. Some of my friends actually, like Madu Toiwanyamu and Julie Sofo, that is Shegu Arinze's wife, actually went all the way from their homes in Lekki to the hospital. And they said, oh, they've moved. And they called me. I said, oh, yeah, we went on a small vacation. I didn't bother to tell anybody that he had gotten even more critical. So they put him in the ICU and he spent 21 days there. every day, Kufre is a smart man. Every day he will just try and use that his shoulder to move his phone in such a way that I can see that the beds are emptying. And all I would see is, and I would just say, but I thank you. Somebody went home. But I thank you. In my mind, when I see an empty bed, I'll think, okay, somebody got well and went home. Anyways, long and short, 7 days, 14 days. Shall we they say COVID is 14 days? Oh yeah, now he's still alive 14 days. Give me my husband, let me be going. And they said no. And I'm like, no, something must be wrong. So I started, that was when I started calling people to say, help me, I think something is wrong, and stuff like that. Anyway, long and short, 21 days, they called me, come and get your husband. And I came. And when I came, there was a big party going on. And I'm like, what's going on here? And the doctor said to me, Madam, your husband is our first survivor. I said, excuse me? All those bags? He said, all of them went out in body bags. And I'm like, what? And I carried my husband, put in the car, and I raced out of there. And I've been hiding him ever since. I've been hiding him ever since. Because, I don't know how to describe this miracle. I don't want to give you the numbers, but people died in there. And I'm so grateful to God that He chose to show mercy. Because it's not because we are righteous. It's not because we have done anything better than anybody else. It is just because God looked at me and the multitude of people that were praying along with us and decided to show us mercy. And so what do I call my husband today? I call him my miracle on two faiths. Because God has resolved nearly everything.
So how did you cope in those difficult moments?
To think about how I was going to cope or not cope. Frankly, you know what I'm saying? There was no time to think. I just went into doing mode, right? This was my friend here dying. I never thought one day this is my husband. No, because one of my friends even came to me and said, Ezinne, what do you mean? You're doing too much. Not be this husband where they marry you to they marry you. She said this your husband no get side chick. And I'm like, excuse me? So that is what I'm supposed to be thinking in my head right now. You see, right now my friend is dying, and see, people don't get it. I give Kufre all the gist though. Anything you gist me in this life, I will gist him. You see, anything that is happening, I'm calling him, babe, what's up? I need to buy a black dress. Should I? Do you think it will fit me? That is how close we are. I give him the whole gist. So I was imagining myself now not having anybody to talk to. Where do I even start from? So, and then I thank God for Julia Oku. You see, Julia told me, Ezinne, I said, Ma, he said, something has come to kill your daughter. I said the line that I will fight. The thing had better take me. He said, okay, good. Something has come to kill your husband. I said, is it possible? Not on my watch. And so I was prepared to beg, to cry, to do whatever I needed to do, to ensure that what he needed to survive was available. And I thank God every day. When people see me on Facebook and I'm thanking people and I'm celebrating people, they don't understand. I thank God for every single friend of Kufre, and even for those who were not his friend, who got involved. Humans are nice. Human beings, no, God turned every single human being into an angel, and they were on my side and fighting with me. So there was no time to even say to myself, how are you going to cope? Cope with what? When I had said, you know what, Lord, spare him, take me if you need to.